Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yathapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaraganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shivishkam Vitam Scha Om Ajnanatimranda Shagyanajana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasma Shri Gurave Namah Gurva Bishtam Sapurakam Garganara Sisha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipunam Shri Rupa Patanugam Govinda Abhidam Ujwalam Varatanum Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Vande Vishwagurun Shah Divyat Bhagavat Premnavi Bija Pradam Devam Divyatanum Suchandavaranam Balarka Chelanchitam Sandrananda Puram Sadeka Varanam Vairagya Vidyamburim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Vanditam Shivaram Mareka Sharanam Nyashishwara Shidaram Vanshakopatarubyascha Kripa Sindhubhyabhya Patitanam Pavinibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahabaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Namam. So we're reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada. This is Madhya-lila chapter 20. The Lord instructs Srila Sanatan Goswami. This is verse number 245. Avatar hoy Krishnara Shadvida Prakar Purusha Avatarek Lila Avatarar. There are 6 types of incarnations, avatars of Krishna. One includes the incarnations of Vishnu, Purusha avatars, and another includes the incarnations meant for the performance of pastimes, Lila avatars. Gunavatarar, Manvantara avatar, Jugavatara, Shaktivesh avatar. There are incarnations that control the material qualities, Gunavatars, incarnations who appear during the reign of each Manu, Manvantara avatars, incarnations in different millenniums, Juga avatars, and incarnations of empowered living entities, Shaktivesh avatars. So there are incarnations that control the material qualities, Guna avatars, incarnations who appear during the reign of each Manu, Manvantara avatars, incarnations in different millenniums, Yuga avatars, and incarnations of empowered living entities, Shaktivesh avatars. Balya Poganda Hoy Vigra Hera Dharma Etarupe Lila Koren Brajendra Nandan. Childhood and boyhood are the typical ages of the deity Krishna, the son of Maharaj Nanda. Childhood and boyhood are the typical ages of the deity Krishna, the son of Maharaj Nanda, performed his pastimes as a child and as a boy. Ananta Avatara Krishnara Nahika Ganan Shaktya Chandra Nyaya Kori Digdarashan. There are innumerable incarnations of Krishna, and there is no possibility of counting them. We can simply indicate them by giving the example of the moon and the branches of a tree. Avajananti, pardon me. There are innumerable incarnations of Krishna, and there is no possibility of counting them. We can simply indicate them by giving examples of the moon and the branches of a tree. Avatara yasankya hare sattva nider dvija jata vidashina kuya sharasa shu sahasrasha. O learned Brahmins, just as hundreds and thousands of small rivulets issue from great reservoirs of water, innumerable incarnations flow from Sri Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the reservoir of all power. Pratame Kore Krishna Purusha Avatar, Seta Purusha Hoy Tribida Prakar. In the beginning, Krishna incarnates himself as the Purusha avatars, or Vishnu incarnations. These are of 3 types. Vishnostu Trini Rupani Purushakyani Ato Vidu Ekam tu Mahata Shastri Dvitiyam Tvanda Samstitam Tritiyam Sarva Bhutastam Tani Gyatva Vimuchate. Vishnu has three forms called Purushas. The first, Mahavishnu, is the creator of the total material energy, Mahat. The second is Garbhodakshayi, who is situated within each universe. And the third is Shirodashayi, who lives in the heart of every living being. He who knows these three becomes liberated from the clutches of Maya. Ananta Shakti Madhye Krishner Tina Shakti Pradhan Icha Shakti Jnana Shakti Kriya Shakti Nam. Krishna has unlimited potencies, out of which three are chief: willpower, the power of knowledge, and the creative energy. Icha Shakti Pradhan Krishna Ichaya Sarvakarta Jnana Shakti Pradhan Vasudeva Adhishtata. The predominator of the willing potency is Lord Krishna, for by his supreme will everything comes into existence. In willing, there is a need for knowledge, and that knowledge is expressed through Vasudeva. And the predominator of the willing potency is Lord Krishna, for by his supreme will everything comes into existence. In willing, there is a need for knowledge, and that knowledge is expressed through Vasudeva. Icha Jnana Kriya Bina Nahoy Srijan Tinara Tin Shakti Mili Prapancha Rajan. There is no possibility of creation without thinking, feeling, willing, knowledge, and activity. The combination of the supreme will, knowledge, and action brings about the cosmic manifestation. Kriya Shakti Pradhan Sankarshana Balaram Prakrita Shrishti Korana Nirman. Lord Shankarshan is Lord Balaram. Being the predominator of the creative energy, he creates both the material and the spiritual world. Hankarera Adhishtata Krishnera Ichai Goloka Vaikunta Srijay Chid Shakti Dwarai. That original Shankarshan, Lord Balaram, is the cause of both the material and the spiritual creation. He is the predominating deity of egotism, and by the will of Krishna and the power of the spiritual energy, he creates the spiritual world, which consists of the planet Goloka Vrindavan and the Vaikuntha planets. Jajapi Asrijanitya Chid Shakti Vilas Tatapi Sankarshana Ichai Tahara Prakash. Although there is no question of creation as far as the spiritual world is concerned, the spiritual world is nonetheless manifested by the supreme will of Shankarshan. The spiritual world is the abode of the pastimes of the eternal spiritual energy. Sahasrapatram Kamalam Gokulakyam Mahatparam Tatkarnikaram Taddama Taranantam Shasambhavam. Gokula, the supreme abode and planet, appears like a lotus flower that has 1,000 petals. The whirl of that lotus is the abode of the Supreme Lord Krishna. This lotus-shaped supreme abode is created by the will of Lord Ananta. Mayadware Srijiteho Brahmananderagan Jadarupa Prakriti Nahe Brahmanda Karan. By the agency of the material energy, this same Lord Shankarshan creates all the universes. The dull material energy, known in modern language as nature, is not the cause of the material universe. Jada hoite shrishti nahe ishvara shakti bine tahate shankarshana kore shaktira arane. Without the Supreme Personality of God as energy, dull matter cannot create the cosmic manifestation. Its power does not arise from the material energy itself, but is endowed by Shankarshan. Ishvarer Shakti Shrishti Koraye Prakriti Lohajena Agni Shakti Paidaha Shakti. Dull matter alone cannot create anything. The material energy produces the creation by the power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Iron itself has no power to burn, but when iron is placed in fire, it is empowered to burn. Eto I Vishvasya cha Bijayoni Ramo Mukunda Purusha Pradhanam Anviya Bhuteshu Vilakshanasya Gyanasya Cheshata Imo Purano. Balaram and Krishna are the original efficient and material causes of the material world. As Mahavishnu and the material energy, they enter into the material elements and create the diversities by multi-energies. Thus they are the cause of all causes. Shrishti Hetu Jai Murti Prapanche Avatare Se Ishwara Murti Avatara Namadare. The form of the Lord that descends into the material world to create is called an avatar or incarnation. Mayatita Paravyomi Sabar Avastan Vishve Avatare Dare Avataranam. All the expansions of Lord Krishna are actually residents of the spiritual world. But when they descend into the material world, they are called incarnations, avatars. Se Maya Avalokites Sri Shankarshan Purusha Rupe Avatirna Hoila Pratam. To glance over that material energy and empower her, Lord Shankarshan first incarnates as Lord Mahavishnu. Jagrihe Purusham Rupam Bhagavan Mahadadibi Sambhutam Shadasha Kalam Adoloka Sasrikshaya. In the beginning of the creation, the Lord expanded himself in the form of the Purusha incarnation, accompanied by all the ingredients of material creation. First, he created the 16 principal energies suitable for creation. This was for the purpose of manifesting the material universes. Adyo Vatara Purusha Parasya Kala Svabhava Sarasanmanascha Dravjam Vikaro Guna Indriyani Virat Svarat Stasnu Charishnu Bhumna. Karnabdishayi Vishnu, Mahavishnu, is the first incarnation of the Supreme Lord, and he is the master of eternal time, space, cause and effects, the mind, the elements, the material ego, the modes of nature, the senses, the universal form of the Lord, Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, and the sum total of all living beings, both moving and non-moving. Yeah. Se Purusha Virajate Korana Shayan Karanabdi Shayi Nama Jagat Karan. That original personality of Godhead named Shankarshan first lies down in the river Viraja, which serves. That original personality of Godhead named Shankarshan first lies down in the river Viraja, which serves as a border between the material and the spiritual world. As Karanabdi Shayi Vishnu, he is the original cause of the material creation. Karanabdi Pare Mayara Nitya Avastiti Virajara Pare Paravyome Nahigati. The Viraja, or causal ocean, is the border between the spiritual and the material world. The material energy is situated on one shore of the ocean, and it cannot enter onto the other shore, which is the spiritual sky. Paravartate yatra rajastamastayo, pravartate yatra rajastamastayo, sattvam cha mishram na cha kalavikrama, na yatra maya kim utapare harer, anuvrata yatra surashurachita. In the spiritual world, there is neither the mode of passion, the mode of ignorance, nor a mixture of both, nor is there adulterated goodness, the influence of time or Maya herself. Only the pure devotees of the Lord, who are empowered both by the demigods and by demons, reside in the spiritual world as the Lord's associates. Maya radye dui vritti maya arapradan, maya nimitta hetu vishvara upadana pradan. Maya has two functions. One is called Maya and the other is called Pradhan. Maya refers to the efficient cause, and the Pradhan refers to the ingredients that create the cosmic manifestation. Se Purusha Maya Pane Koryavadan, Prakriti Shobita Kore Virjera Adan. When the Supreme Personality of God glances over the material energy, she becomes agitated. At that time, the Lord injects the original semen of the living entities. Svanga Vishesha Bhasha Rupe Prakriti Sparshan Jiva Rupa Bijatate Koila Samarpan. To impregnate with the seeds of the living entities, the Lord himself does not directly touch the material energy, but by his specific functional expansion, he touches the material energy, and thus the living entities, who are his parts and parcels, are impregnated into material nature. Daivat Shubita Dharminyam Svashyam Yono Parapuman Adata Viryam Sasuta Mahatatvam Hiranmayam. At a time beyond memory, after agitating the material nature into three qualities, the Supreme Personality of God had placed the semen of innumerable living entities within the womb of that material nature. Thus, material nature gave birth to the total material energy known as the Hiranmaya Mahatattva, the original symbolic representation of the cosmic manifestation. Kalavrityatu mayayam guna mayam adokshaja purushenatma bhutena viryam adata viryavan. In due course of time, the Supreme Personality of God at Mahavaikuntanath, by the agency of a further expansion of his personal self, Mahavishnu placed the seed of the living entities within the womb of material nature. Tabe mahat tattva hoite trivida ahankar, ja hoite deva tendriya bhutera prachar. First, the total material energy is manifested, and from this arise the three types of egotism, which are the original sources from which all demigods, controlling deities, senses, and material elements expand. Sarvatattva mili srijila brahmandaragan ananda brahmandatara nahika ganan. Combining all the different elements, the Supreme Lord created all the universes. Those universes are unlimited in number. There is no possibility of counting them. Iho mahat shrashta purusha mahavishnunam ananta brahmandatara lomakupedam. The first form of Lord Vishnu is called Mahavishnu. He is the original creator of the total material energy. The innumerable universes emanate from the pores of his body. Gavakshe udiya jaiche renua asejai purusha nishvasa saha brahmanda bahirai punarapi nishvasa saha jai abhyantar ananta ishvarya tara sabmaya par. These universes are understood to be floating in the air that Mahavishnu exhales. They are like atomic particles that float in sunshine and pass through the holes of a screen. All these universes are thus created by the exhalation of Mahavishnu, and when Mahavishnu inhales, they re-enter his body. The unlimited opulences of Mahavishnu are completely beyond material conception. Yashaika Nishvasita Kalam Matara Atavalambya Yashaika Nishvasita Kalam Atavalambya Shivanti Loma Vilaja Jagat Andanata Vishnur Mahansa Iha Yashya Kalavishesho Govindamari Parusham Tamaham Bhajami. The Brahmas and other lords of the mundane worlds appear from the pores of Mahavishnu and remain alive for the duration of his one exhalation. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whom Mahavishnu is a portion of a plenary portion. Samasta Brahmanda Ganer Iho Antarjami Karanabdi Shayim Sabjagateram Swami. Mahavishnu is the supersoul of all the universes. Lying on the causal ocean, he is the master of all material worlds. Eta kahilun pratama purushera tattva dvitiya purushera ebe shunaha mahatva. I have thus explained the truth of the first personality of Godhead, Mahavishnu. I shall now explain the glories of the second personality of Godhead. Se Purusha Nantakoti Brahmanda Srijya Etaika Murte Praveshila Bahu Murte Haya. After creating the total number of universes, which are unlimited, Mahavishnu expanded himself into unlimited forms and entered into each of them. Pravesha Koriya Deke Sab Adakar Rahite Nahika Sthana Korila Bichar. When Mahavishnu entered each of the unlimited universes, he saw that there was no... When Mahavishnu entered each of the limitless universes, he saw that there was darkness all around and that there was no place to stay. He therefore began to consider the situation. Nijanga Sveda Jale Brahmandarda Barila Se Jale Sesha Shayana Korila. With the perspiration produced from his own body, the Lord filled half the universes with water. With the perspiration produced from his own body, the Lord filled half the universe with water. He then lay down on that water on the bed of Lord Sesha. Taranabi Padma Hoite Utila Ek Padma Se Padme Hoila Brahmara Janma Sadma. A lotus flower then sprouted from the lotus navel of that Garbhodaka Shayi Vishnu. That lotus flower became Lord Brahma's birthplace. Se Padmanale Hoila Choda Bhuvan Teho Brahma Hoya Shrishti Korila Srijan. In the stem of that lotus flower, the 14 worlds were generated. Then he became Lord Brahman, manifested the entire universe. Vishnu Rupa Hoya Kore Jagat Palane Gunatita Vishnu Sparsha Nahi Mayasane. In this way, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his form of Vishnu, maintains the entire material world. Since he is always beyond the material qualities, the material nature cannot touch him. Rudra Rupa Dori Kore Jagat Samhar Shrishti Stiti Pralaya Hoy Ichaya Jahar. The Supreme Lord, in his form of Rudra, Lord Shiva, brings about the dissolution of this material creation. In other words, only by his will are there creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the whole cosmic manifestation. Brahma Vishnu Shiva Tara Gunavatar Shrishti Stiti Pralayera Tinera Adhikar. Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva are his three incarnations of the material qualities. Creation, maintenance, and destruction, respectively, are under the charge of these three personalities. Hiranyagarbha Antarjami Garbhodakashayi Sahasra Shira Shirshadi Kore Bede Jare Gai. Hiranyagarbha Antarjami Garbhodakashayi Sahasra Shirshadi Kori Bede Jare Gai. Garbhodakshai Vishnu, known within the universe as Hiranyagarbha and the Antarjami or Supersoul, is glorified in the Vedic hymns, beginning with the hymn that starts with the word Sahasra Shirsha. And that's the, believe the Purusha, the Purusha prayers. Eta Dvitiya Purusha Brahmandereshwar Mayara Ashraya Hoy Tabu Mayapar. The second personality of Godhead, known as Garbhodakshai Vishnu, is the master of each and every universe and the shelter of the external energy. Nevertheless, he remains beyond the touch of the external energy. So those prayers, I believe, are Purusha Shukta. And Eta Dvitiya Purusha Brahmandereshwar Mayara Ashraya Hoy Tabu Mayapar. This second personality of Godhead, known as Garbhodakshai Vishnu, is the master of each and every universe and the shelter of the external energy. Nevertheless, he remains beyond the touch of the external energy. Tritiya Purusha Vishnu Gunavatar Dvi Avatara Bhitara Gananatahar. The third expansion of Vishnu is Chirodakashai Vishnu, who is the incarnation of the quality of goodness. He is to be counted within both types of incarnations, Purusha avatars and Guna avatars. So he's Purusha avatar, he's Chirodakshai Vishnu, and he's also a Guna avatar of the quality of goodness. Virat Vyasti Jivara Teho Antarjami Shirodakashai Teho Palanakarta Swami. Shirodakashai Vishnu is the universal form of the Lord and is the super soul within every living entity. He is known as Shirodakashai because he is the Lord who lies on the ocean of milk. He is the maintainer and master of the universe. So that but it says he lies on the ocean of milk, but it's named Kirodakashai Vishnu. So he's actually lying on the ocean of Kir. Because Shirodakashai Vishnu, thickened milk. Purusha avatarer e koilun nirupan, lila avatarer be shuna sanatan. O Sanatan, I have definitively described the three Purusha avatars of Vishnu. Now please hear from me about the pastime incarnations. So I'm going to stop here and prepare for the...
That's an amazing descriptive chapter.
Yeah, very...
About the world, the manifestation of the cosmos, everything.
Yeah, very nice. Hariharaya Nama Krishna Jaravaya Nama Jaravaya Maravaya Keshavaya Nama Gopal Govindaram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinatha Marana Mohan Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Garadara Shiva Sadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath H.I. Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan Jahoite Bignana Shabishta Puran H.I. Gosai Jar Mui Taradas Tasabar Pada Renu Mora Panchagras Tader Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas Janame More Abhilash H.I. Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas Radha Krishna Nitya-lila Korila Prakash Anande Bolo Hari Banja Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Manjayaman, Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyash, Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamudas, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Haribo. Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridharaju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmalacharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakakshidhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Sunanda Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishoredas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Bharga Ki Jai. Namachar Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Sri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raganashi Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Premzigo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Bhagavad Ki Jai. Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vishwavaranya Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Madhacharya Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Sri Mayapur Ki Jai. Saparshada Sri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Saparshada Sriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Sri Koladvip Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Soquel Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Seva Ashram Ki Jai. Ganga Devi Ki Jai, Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Govardhan Sham Guna Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Jo Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, all the assembled devotees Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Jai Divya Shakti Didi Ki Jai.